For the first paper assignment, I want to introduce two new Cuskin rules. Cuskin rule number 3 is that writing creates a persona. This rule took me a while to get to, and I think it's an important one. Writing creates a persona. There's a few implications of this rule. The first is that when you write, you are creating a document that leaves you. Now, that document is initially very powerfully identified with you as a human being. Indeed, they're your words. And if you're writing in the first person, they're very much your words. They're potentially your identity on the page. But the minute your identity goes on the page, it's separate from you. And as it goes out to various readers, it's no longer you. It is something else. It's a text. It has its own identity and it has its own history. The importance of this is when you write your essay and it goes out to readers, they're not reacting to you. They're reacting to what you wrote. So separate yourself from their comments. Their comments are about what you wrote. They're not about you. And I offer you this in the spirit of anything you do in your life. Realize that the products you create, you have some responsibility for them, but they are not you. So don't take them personally. Second implication here is, because writing is separate from you, you have a chance to craft who you are in writing. You have a chance to craft a kind of public identity, a superhero identity, a persona that is separate from who you are personally and intimately. So put away who you are and think about who you want to be as you go out into the world. Think about creating a public voice that is separate from your private self. With this comes a third point. The place you meet your reader is in your first sentences, so you need to be very careful about the introduction. Really, it is the handshake of your paper. It is the first moment of a blind date where you meet the new person and you need to make an impression. So how are you going to do that? Well, I have a few points about writing an introduction. The first is craft a title that matters. Craft a title that tells your reader who you are and what this paper is about. So, are you clever? Are you serious? Are you profound? If you launch your essay with the title First Essay, you're telling your reader many things, that you didn't put much time into it, that you see this as a programmatic effort, that first essay will only be followed by second essay, and then you'll get through the course. So think about that title. Think about what it says. Then, as you think about that introduction, and that's really the handshake with your reader, begin it with a topic sentence. A sentence that tells your reader what you're writing on, what page you're writing on, what author or illustrator you're writing on. And marry that with a theme. Tell them what's coming. You don't need a hook so much as a handshake. You need to assure your reader that you're in charge. Then move from the topic to the second part of that paragraph, and the third part of the introduction overall. Move to the argument. Now, a lot of writers include a summary of the text or the issue they're talking about. And the problem with a summary is it's broad. It puts the reader back in the world of the text or of the field, and not in your hands. So instead of just giving us a summary, tell us the points you're going to cover in your own argument. Reflect on what you're talking about and put those points in the introduction. The last part of the introduction is the most critical, and it is the thesis statement. It is a sentence which tells us why this paper matters. What is the conclusion? And I tell you this, whether you're writing on comic books, or you're writing a legal brief, or you're writing a memo to your boss, you've got to get up in your introduction what the bottom line is. So for this essay, I want you to tell me why your interpretation is important. What's important about your essay? Give me a statement that states your thesis, what you think. But as you reflect on the writing process overall, think about when you write a letter or a memo or a brief that you want to include in the introduction, the end goal of the whole paper, of the whole document. Don't hide that behind your back like a surprise. Put it up front. Tell the reader what you're going to say, and then, if the reader is so inclined, the reader will follow you all the way through to the end. And if you're writing a book, that may be many hundreds of pages. So Cuskin rule number 1 is writing creates a persona. And I ask you to think about that personally as you separate yourself from the document. Think about it publicly as you craft a public persona. And think about it technically as you write out an introduction that states to your reader what's going on in no uncertain terms. My second Cuskin rule here is Cuskin rule number 4. Make a plan for success. And I mean this seriously. Without a plan for success and a goal at the end of the plan, you don't really know where you stand. Of course, we all want to do well, but have we really planned to do well? Have we really thought out the steps that are going to be necessary to do well? And have we really thought about what doing well would look like? We all want a great grade on our paper, but have we thought about and planned to achieve that grade, or we just kind of roll of the dice and hope it all works out? For this paper, I want to give you a plan. I want to give you 6 steps that will lead you to success. The first step is, before you leave this assignment, I want you to read the full assignment, and I want you to pick one of the comic pages to write on. I don't want you to delay. I want you to pick it, and I want you to print it out. Do that before you go on. Why? Because each of those comic book pages are good. They're smart comic pages. They have plenty of stuff for you to write on, and I don't want you to spend a lot of time, deciding, oh, which one am I going to write on? Which one is perfect for me? They're all fine. Just pick one and get over it. Move ahead. The second step is, I want you to take Cuskin Rules 1, circling the details, and Cuskin Rule 2, synthesizing the details. And I want you to read that page, and then I want you to apply those 2 rules. So circle the details. They could be visual details, they could be textual details, they could be the gutter, but pick out the details that stand out to you, and then synthesize them. Come up with some ideas on the margin or in your markup program. That's 2. 3, I want you to find a time where you can write for 45 minutes to an hour uninterrupted. And I want you to get out a timepiece of some kind, your phone, your watch, a hourglass, and I want you to write for a solid hour uninterrupted. And if there are noises, if your dog starts barking, if you run a farm and the chickens start cackling, just keep writing. I want you to do it for an hour. And now you may start, and you may have to write, I hate this project, I hate writing, and I don't want to do this. So just write that. Just write it out. Just type it out or write it out. Doesn't matter. You can erase that. That's the beauty of writing. Just get rolling. And if you have to write very simple sentences that say, the first thing I circled was Superman's S on his shirt, that's fine. Just write for an hour. Just get it done. Ugh. That'll bring you, when you're done writing, you're done, and put it aside. And then, if you take a little time between writing and revising, actually your mind will kind of think through the things. It's magical. Your mind will digest some of the issues and work them through. Then, come to point 4 in my recommendations for a plan. Revise. Revise that thing. You can revise it by typing it up. You can revise it right in front of you with the red pen I had and go through it. Revise it. Cut out all the stuff about I don't want to write a paper, and cut out all the stuff about the weak stuff about point number. I circled Superman's circle, the symbol. Just get in there and write it as best you can. Try writing that introduction out the way I told you, with a good title, a topic, an argument, and thesis statement. Revise it. End every paragraph with a strong statement concluding that paragraph. So that may take you a couple sittings, that part of the plan, or you may just do it. Either way, revision is a crucial part to crafting your persona. Step 5, ask yourself, What's the big point? What have I uncovered in this essay? What conclusion have I reached? So what? So what? This is really important. This is your chance to say something. This is your chance to come to a statement. So what? What do you have to say for yourself? Really, what's your point? Given this piece of art, what do you have to say? So in step 5, stop and ask yourself, what have I said? Now, after thinking about that, you may have to go through the whole paper and revise it and fix it. Or you may just have to tweak that thesis statement at the end of the introduction so it represents your best summation of what you said. But in any case, step 5 is very important because it asks you to reflect on your writing, and it asks you, honestly, naked truth, are you saying anything really? Or are you just summarizing? Are you really interpreting and taking the parts into you and putting them out in a new whole? Or are you just kind of biding time and talking about the weather? Last part of the plan, read your writing out loud. Read it out loud. Does it sound smart? Does it sound grammatical? As you read it, do you find mistakes? Read it out loud. That will help you finish your paper. With that, you can actually take a ruler and go line by line and proofread, and I would encourage that. But at the least, read it out loud. Reading on screen is tough. You may want to print it out, but in any case, read it out loud and smooth it and give it a sense of polish. Those are my tips. That's my plan for you. Onwards.